Well, good morning. It is April the 24th on a Wednesday, and I am on my way to pick up some coworkers who, for whatever reason, don't drive. I hope this arrangement does not last. I'm so over it. I would like to talk today about the roots of who we are. Our identity, our essence. I'm 39 years old. I'm going to be 40 this year. But everything that I am today and everything that I'm going to slide into becoming more of or less of is built upon the foundation of who I was born as. I was born in a relatively small town and raised in it. I've never lived far from home. I never graduated high school. I'm a little bit so that kind of has hampered my social development, and it took many more years to get proper relationships going, with a lot of stumbling along the way. And I was raised by a father, not a mother. My mom was not in the picture, and he was single and self-employed, a Vietnam veteran, and he's going to be a lifelong recovering alcoholic. I think he's still sober. He's been sober for I don't even know how long. Almost as long as I've been alive. So 35, 38 years. And so the little kid who dealt with this scared and angry man, raising him while working, a business that he ran, having limited attention to spend on me, meant that I raised myself a lot. So maybe from 8 years old on, I, for the most part, would do my own laundry so that I had clean clothes to wear for school. I cooked for myself because I knew how to read by then, so I just followed instructions on the back of the packages. And that segued into my teen years, where I was kind of built around being independent, something of a loner, because where I lived I didn't have a lot of kids my age to play with, and the kids in school were... Well, kids are kind of mean. Kids are naturally inherently cruel. That's just how that works. It is what it is. I don't think if kids understood the ramifications about how they are to each other, they'd be the way they are, but they can't understand ramifications and consequences, because then they wouldn't be kids, they'd be mature already. But we know that that's not how human development works, from the mental perspective. The perspective itself comes later. So the reason why I gave you the short, broad strokes of my youth and my origins is for you to understand that as I progressed into life, it was built upon the foundation of what I experienced when I was young. If you have two parents, your father's a wagee for, say, the government or a bigger company, and he makes enough money, and your mom is a stay-at-home mom, you're going to have a distinctly different upbringing than me, and you're going to have different values and beliefs than I do. Not because they told you different things than I was told, but because your circumstances were entirely different. So the framework upon which your mind is built to perceive things from is going to be very different. So you might not have, you can't relate to a lot of the things that I might believe or say. There might be things that I believe or say that you do relate to, and it could be a mystery why that is, or it could be as simple as cause and effect. Well, I can see the chain of reasoning that led me to agree with you, or you could agree with me and not even know why. It just rings true for some reason. We'll cover that some other time. But suffice it to say, who we are as adults, who we are as old men, is built upon who we were as children. So effectively, you never stop being what you were, you just integrate what you are and are being and are about to be into what you have been. So you are just as much the child as you are the old man, or the middle-aged man in my case. We amalgamate and stack and collect and accrue our experiences through life. So I know a lot of people online are underage viewing content. I know that, even though YouTube is supposed to be for people 13 years or older, and really, even if you are 13 years or older, a lot of the stuff you watch, you shouldn't even watch unless you're you should never watch it, no matter how old you are. It's bad. content. I'm not talking about like it sucks or it's boring. It's just bad for you, for your soul, for your mind, for your sanity. But I know a lot of you youngsters like creep around on the web, especially here on the YouTubes, and it's really burnt you guys up and hurt you. But I don't know. Maybe your parents try their best. Maybe they don't even give a shit. Maybe they're the one that put you on here. But if you were to find this video, what I would tell you is to remember this. When things are like insane, and a lot of you are experiencing some pretty insane upbringings like I did, like it was bad for me, like I'm the little dirt-ditter, and like the other kids would like beat the hell out of me, and like there was no real recourse. Anytime I stood up for myself, that'd be my ass, not their ass. Like the school would take it out on me. I'd get suspended. I'd get in trouble. And then of course, when I'd come home suspended, my dad would not be happy with that. And because he was a recovering alcoholic, you know, he was very angry because he couldn't drink, but he was angry when he drank anyway, so no difference there. And so it would not go well for me. But he would take me on the job with him when I wasn't in school, and he'd pay me by the hour to work for him, helping him out, so I learned a trade at least. It might even be worse for you. Maybe you don't have a dad to take you to work. Maybe you know, even if you're suspended and in trouble, your parents don't even care whether you live or die, or it feels that way anyway. Maybe your so-called friends will drop you like a bad habit because you say the wrong thing in the next struggle session in class, you know, or they're trying to prove to each other that they're all worthy of fitting in, and then you say the wrong thing, so now you're not worthy of fitting in and you're out of the circle for a while. Or maybe you never get back into the circle and you gotta go hang out with the rejects, and then their circle gets so tight you don't fit in there. You're all on your own. Maybe some really messed up stuff is going on in your personal life, and I'm not gonna give any examples of what that might be, but I know you guys go through some stuff because everybody around you that's older than you, that isn't a kid, was your age at one time. And believe it or not, a lot of us went through some serious stuff. I've had some things happen to me as an adult that were real messed up, that might even happen to you as a kid, and it shouldn't happen to adults or kids. I'm not going to sit here and promise you that it's going to make any sense to you today or tomorrow or any time in your life. You'll look back at this, if you know, and you get older, like it might not make sense to you then either, and it is what it is. But remember this: all of these things happening to you or not happening to you, and you want them to, like maybe like you just want your parents to spend time with you, for example, and they just won't give you the time of day. They're too busy partying or working or whatever the hell is, you know, occupying their time that would force them to give you a tablet so you watch stuff like this. They're not so different from you. That's not to say that adults aren't to be respected on some level, because, you know, we survived this long, so there's that. But just because you survived till 30 or 40 or 50 doesn't mean you get a big cookie as a reward. It's just more likely that by that point they've gotten some experience, maybe enough experience to know what they're talking about, maybe not. I'm sure you have some very stupid teachers, don't you? But like, they're more like you than you have more in common than you have differences between you. Let's put it that way. So like, try not to get hung up on who loves who or who doesn't love who. Does my mom even care that I live or die? Don't think too much about it. I can't give you some warm and fuzzy message on that. Instead, what you need to remember is that over time, things change, and if you hang in long enough, there will be changes, and some of those changes might actually be favorable to you. You're not going to live past what's been happening bad. You're not going to, you know, erase from reality what has happened. But you can build things on top of that make use of those terrible experiences, and might be able to get something out of them that you can build to your advantage and gain from them in some indirect way. So like, you just got to hang in and do what you got to do. And I don't know what your solutions are going to be, because every problem is unique and every person is unique. But what you do need to do is distance yourself immediately from anybody who says that you deserve this or you deserve that, whether it's good or bad. Like, oh, you deserve to be treated like this, that, and the other. Well, how do they know what you deserve? You know? And if somebody says you deserve the worst, you need to distance yourself from them too, because again, what right is it of theirs? Like, on what authority do they think they know what you deserve, good or bad? Instead, you need to determine what you deserve, and if you feel that you genuinely deserve a thing, it's not going to just come to you. You have to go get it. You have to make that reality. You have to take what is your reality and change it into the reality where you have the thing you deserve. Because entitlements, in a perfect world as a youngin', like we'd all get what we need, that's often not the case. So if you don't always get what you need, whether it be love from your parents or even attention from them, then why would you be crazy enough to think that you're gonna get what you want? That's silly. I mean, a lot of you kids aren't even getting what you need, and then you expect to get what you want. That's Riri speak. Like, what the math ain't mathin'. So, like, no. Work on getting what you need, even if it's by your own means. I had to wash my own clothes and cook for myself when I was a kid. I basically raised myself. It wasn't great. I don't recommend it, but it can be done. It's not fun, but it can be done. And then once you got what you need, shelter, food, water, clothing, place to sleep, stuff like that. Hygiene, gotta bathe, gotta wash that body. You don't get funky, you get diseases, skin conditions, and some messed up stuff can happen. You gotta take care of yourself. And you want to keep your teeth, because I don't have enough of them anymore because life happened and I got really poor for a while. But I think that even being poor, you can keep all your teeth if you don't eat as much sugar and you have good dental hygiene. But that's neither here nor there. Once you get what you need, then you can worry about what you want. And here's where the trick comes in. There was this dude from a very long time ago who said, we can't all have everything that we want, but everybody can want what they have and be happy with that. Now, that's not to say that you should only want what you have and not want anything else. You should always have some wants. I mean, they call it materialism, wanting things that you don't have, but some of that can be healthy and can be a motivator for you to keep the struggle alive and advance yourself. So, like, there is something in that, but, like, you have to be okay with doing without before you can get the discipline and the focus necessary to get the things you're doing without and actually be able to value and enjoy them. So, yeah. Your first priority is to take care of your needs, then worry about your wants. And then when you get to the wants, you got to kind of do some serious brainstorming and determine which one of your wants are actually useful to you. If you want a computer and you don't have one, okay, there's a lot going on there. I think that you could potentially focus on getting a computer that you can use to learn or make money for yourself, but it just so happens that a gaming computer will be able to handle that easily and then some. But maybe a gaming computer is very out of reach. I mean, you can buy a Chromebook for a couple $100, whereas an entry-level gaming PC is probably going to cost closer to $800, $900 for real basic stuff. Maybe make do with the Chromebook, or, get an Android-based tablet so you can at least do some, stuff off the Play Store for games for the short term, and then get a skill set. Like, for every hour you spend on gaming, you should probably spend some time learning a second language while you're young, whether that's a computer language like Python or a spoken language like Chinese is a business language, Japanese is a business language, German is a money language. These are money languages. These are languages that, like, people that make a lot of money have to speak. So if you want to ever have a position in a huge corporation, you want to go that route, being multilinguistic can be very helpful for getting your foot in the door, especially in high value sales, like selling corporate insurance policies, for example. On the other hand, if you want to work for yourself, what you need to be working on is skills with working with your hands. So you want to work with your hands, so you pick up a trade. Maybe you don't even finish high school. I don't know. Like, once you're 18, you can literally just walk out of high school. You can just be like, look, dude, I'm resigning from high school. I don't care. I'm dropping out. You can actually drop out. I don't recommend this, but it is an option once you're 18. Go to trade school or something. For a year or two, it's not as expensive as like a 2-year degree, obviously, because it's not usually 2 years worth of schooling. And it's not all these extra classes like psychology and humanities garbage. You just learn how to weld, or learn auto collision repair, or learn plumbing, or be an electrician's apprentice, something like that. And then you can just go make money. If you work for 5 to 10 years in the trades, you're going to be better off than somebody that spent that 4 years in college, like financially. You're actually going to be ahead of them. And so at that point, working for other people, getting those skills and the experience, you're probably going to meet some people that you can work with at like general contractors and start your own small business and then go work for yourself. It's what I'm working on doing now. I'm a little late to the party at 39 years old, but it's never too late to upgrade your game and do a little better. Be a little more independent. Do your own things. It's great because you can make your own schedule, and it gives you a little more freedom. So there's options not so far away from you. And I mean, let's just say you are above the minimum 13 years old and recommended to be watching content like this. I don't know why you're on my channel, but thanks, whatever. Be careful on here. I say some pretty hot nonsense, but nothing ultimately harmful, just not particularly useful and might be unpleasant to hear. But anyways, yeah, get in the trades, make you some money. And then if you want to go broaden your mind and, you know, get a proper college degree after the fact, you could probably pay for the degree with cash. Instead of taking out a loan that you can't afford to pay back, you could probably just pay by the semester, you know. And if it's a 4-year degree, it might take you 8 years if you pay out of pocket, but at least you don't owe anything at the end of it. You're paid free and clear. And then you can go get an underwater feminist basket weaving degree if you think it'll do you any good, or instead of that, you can go into medicine and make even more money than a construction guy makes. If you don't mind being around a bunch of sick old people falling apart on you, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty death metal being in healthcare, but there is some money there for sure. It's always gonna be sick and dying people to take care of and try to keep from dying. Good money. But yeah, so don't be a lawyer there. It's a terrible trade. Burn you out mentally. And like all those high-powered lawyer dudes you see that are like making all that bank driving the Maserati and whatnot, or even more expensive cars. It's kind of like the forbidden platform, OF. You know, only like less than 1% of the girls on OF make that kind of bank, and only less than 1% of the lawyers make that kind of bank. And on a lot of levels, it really is kind of almost identical to the same grind as SEX work. Yeah, so like you're basically hoeing out your time, and the only difference is you wear a suit for being a lawyer, and the other, never mind. Not a good choice either way. Both of those are bad things. Don't do OF. Don't be a lawyer. Just go be respectable. And girls, you can work in the trades too. You know that, right? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to be a roofer because you're not going to hack it. You're just not going to make it. You're a woman, or you're going to become a woman if you're a girl now. Don't try to do man shit. But like, there are other trades, blue collar work that would be perfect for a woman. Like if you really want to work instead of be a homemaker, I don't know why. But if you want to, like, there's a lot of stuff you can do. I mean, technically speaking, heavy equipment operators, it helps if you have the strength to maintain your own machine, but you could work on a team of people, or on a team with other people that can do some of that for you, and then like you can just sit in a cabin and pull levers. Theoretically, there's nothing that says you can't run a tractor. I've seen girls on the farm with John Deere's, like they do fine. Do that. Or you can also become an auto mechanic technician. A lot of the work in the body shops requires a little more heavy lifting, but general maintenance, other than tires, that is, you don't need a whole lot of strength. I mean, they got all these tools and breaker bars and whatnot. You can do oil changes and diagnose and repair automotive issues. Like I don't think you need too much physical strength for most of that. I mean, you might be working in the heat or the cold, depending on what time of year it is, but I guess dress in layers, whatever. For God's sakes. I mean, I'm not going to say we need more women in STEM because it's mostly women in college already. So if women are going to college and not choosing STEM, I don't know what to tell you about that. I mean, there's a lot of need for STEM for both boys and girls to go into STEM, but like, they're going to do what they're going to do. And if all you care about is money, as much as we need STEM and STEM doesn't pay that badly, I will tell you right now that blue collar work pays far better, but with the caveat that you start off under other people, get the time and experience and skills, and then go off on your own and start your own business. And that's basically when you start making bank, when you're self-employed. You know, my old man lives on 4.5 acres with a house he built with his own 2 hands with cash, and like, he's not doing so bad for himself financially. I wouldn't say that he makes anything close to $100,000 a year, but he's good to go. Like, he's basically retired, and like, he's got money. So like, you can be you can do the American dream thing in construction if you do the right thing. Just don't be an idiot and join the union. Maybe I'll get into that in another video. So anyways, this video has basically been about how we become who we are, how we can become someone more useful to ourselves, and peppered throughout this video are opportunities to look at some of the messed up things that might have happened to you in your life and turn it around and make it something useful for yourself in the future. I'm not going to sit here and justify what people have done to you, what people have said to you, how people have hurt you, and why they did it. All I'm going to tell you is that bad things happen, sometimes more to others than some people than others. Like, some people, it seems like nothing bad ever happens to them, and some people just seem to always get shat on. I don't know why. And if somebody tells you they know why, they're lying. God knows why, but he don't tell us why. He just, it happens. You can do everything right. You can be a beautiful person, and people can just take a dump all over you and just treat you like garbage and abuse you and hurt you. There's nothing to be done for that. It just happens when it happens. If you have any means to, get away from the people that hurt you to stop any future hurt, and then just do your best to process what you've been through. You're not going to erase it. You're not going to make it unhappen. What's done is done. But I've been through some horrible stuff, and I'm still here, and some days it kind of gets me under thinking about it, but just go. Keep going. What's the worst that could happen? You make it to old age? There's worse things than that. So, I don't know. Life hurts sometimes. Then again, so does growing up. Growing pains. Sometimes the hurt you go through is a little worse than that, but instead of worrying about what's going to hurt you next, start worrying about what you can do to feel better tomorrow. And I don't mean drugs and alcohol. Don't do that. Anyways.